Hello, everybody, and welcome to Comics News Today for Labor Day, September 2nd. I hope all of you Americans are doing really well, and I do apologize to you Canadians. You get no break, no break for you. But of course, I am your host, Justice C. Busby III. Very, very happy to be here with you guys today. Hopefully, a lot of the Americans that are having a beautiful day out with barbecue. I know not all of them are, however, and one of them is right here with us. How you doing, Dinale?
Barreling down.
Yeah, right?
We're,
You're buttoning down is what you're doing. But
yeah,
I'm assuming you're just getting piled on with the rain, yeah?
yeah. We're going to experience heavy tropical storm like weathers, if
Sure.
not tropical storms.
Yeah, no, that's it's serious
Mhm.
business, that thing, dude. It tore up the Bahamas for sure. But
Yeah.
even with this the looming threat to the east of you, did you do anything for Labor Day today?
Not really. I think everybody was kind of hunkering down because they didn't know what this storm was going to do.
That makes
As
sense.
as we were talking about, pretty sure it was staying in the Bahamas and getting all that heat,
That's true.
making the hurricane wall stronger, which is, I think, one of the reasons why it lingers so long on the Bahamas.
It's eating.
And now,
Yes.
yep, it's ET, and now it's hitting landfall on the eastern coast. Now we'll see if it'll turn north or if it'll continue on the path.
Well, that angle traditionally it does tend to bounce up the coast. So chances are high
Yeah,
in your favor, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to feel it. This is a big old storm. How wide is this thing?
150 miles per hour, or 150 miles. Sorry,
Yeah.
225 miles when it hit the land on
Yeah,
Florida.
it's a big one. But hopefully the rest of you guys had a little bit of a good Labor Day. It's traditionally last day of summer. No wearing white after it, which is odd. I guess we Westerners are anti-white for some reason. Did I say that? No. What about you, Todd? You're quite away from that weather. Did you have yourself a fun Labor Day?
We are away, but it did rain
Oh,
for a
it
long
did.
time today. Yeah,
Oh, that's a bummer.
but
Uh,
yeah, but
well,
it
we
did it did turn sunny after that.
It did. Oh, that's nice. We do have a Labor Day
Yeah.
here in Japan, but it's not. They don't do anything. But then again, Japanese don't do anything on any holiday, really. There's only two holidays they do something. Well, maybe two and a half. But Japanese aren't big on fun. They don't. They don't have a. They're not a fun culture. It's weird. Americans are. We know how to party. We know how to have good time. Japanese have no clue as far as holidays go. I mean, I guess
And
on
what is the whole thing with fireworks over there? No fireworks, no bueno, or
Oh, no, no, they have fireworks, they do them during the summer like we do, mainly, and,
yeah.
you'll have firework displays, at, all the major cities, everywhere around, even in the small they call it a city, but it's more of a town over the mountain from me, but, also the kids will go out, with their parents, and we usually gather in big groups and let off, everything up to, like, a Roman candle, I guess, you don't see much bigger than that, but, it's actually kinda interesting, one of my students she's an older lady, but her family owns the local-ish firework company that does the big fireworks, right? And so it's kind of cool. I've had a chance to go and take a look at their warehouse, and I've just had some opportunity to see a little bit about the behind the scenes with fireworks. It was kind of fun. She's a nice lady though. But yeah, we enjoy fireworks over here. Particularly the kids love the sparklers. I don't know why they're all so into the sparklers, but it excites them. I know when I was a kid, we would run around the neighborhood with bottle rocket pipes and Roman candles, and having bottle rocket firework wars, and injuring each other grievously. It was fun. I'm assuming you did the same, Todd.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm. Bullet, what? Bullet says, I have seen Japanese porn. They know how to have fun. Yeah, lying there like a fish, if that's what you're talking about. We actually have an expression here in Japan. It's called maguro. Maguro is a yellowfin tuna, but maguro means the girl just lays there and does nothing. What do we call that in English? The girl just lays there. We must have an expression. I just can't remember it.
Uh, Mattress back.
Oh, mattress back. I've never heard that one before. That works though. It works though. Well, there you go, Bullet. Thank you very much for bringing up a conversation which no one wanted to have. Awesome. Good job, dude. But guys, we do appreciate you being in here. Of course, we're going to jump into the news here momentarily. We would appreciate if you could please hit that share button and let your family and friends and extended community know what's going on. We are live streamers, so we want to have more people in here with us. Although I will add, we do appreciate all the people who come back and watch the videos after. That is very cool. We love you guys for doing that. We're just here trying to have some fun with some friends and have some conversation and have some laughs and stuff like that. There are occasions where some really things come along that really are wrong and are and irksome at best. I try not to cover those too much because we're having fun. We're having a laugh. We don't want to get too serious. Even though I might rant, we all know it's in good fun. But we appreciate you guys immensely for coming and being part of what we're doing. And once again, keep in mind that we this is fan speak, guys. We always want to have you involved. If you guys ever want to come and be on the show and have a chat with us, even if it's just one time to say hi, just hit me up at the Twitter down below and let me know, and I'll get you on the show. We'll have some fun, right? Uh,
How about they do it to sort of try it out?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
It
what I
wouldn't
mean.
hurt. You might
Yeah.
you might be thinking, I'd like to do this on my own channel or do something like that. How about you come here, try it out, get comfortable with it,
Hmm.
because there is a certain nervous energy you have in the beginning, and then you
Sure.
start to get more comfortable and realize it doesn't matter how many people are out there. You don't see them. You don't really realize they're even there, and it's just a conversation amongst three people like we're having today.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I mean, if we look over here in the chat, I've had conversations with Zach several times. I know what he sounds like. I've got to know him. I'd love to have Roger or Bullet come in here and say hi, just so I could just put a voice behind the icon. It would be fun. And there's not a lot of places you can do that. I mean, go try to get on Mike Miller's or John Malin's show. Good luck, right? Because they're not going to put people on they don't think are going to add because they're there for a different reason. We got Willie Reed in here, the Willie Mammoth. Everyone is welcome on Fanspeak. That's right, dude. And we're just here having some fun, and it's awesome. Eric Hawkins, what's up, guys? Well, what's up to you, dude? But we are going to jump over and do our news. We got to get to it. Unfortunately, the first two articles are not happy ones. They're quite sad. So let's get ourselves over there and get through that, and then we can move on to more interesting things. I will have to say that today we're going to do a couple of articles a little different than I normally do. You guys know that a lot of times I just deal with the headline, and I kind of talk about what does that headline make us think, or what kind of conversation can it bring up. Right, is what I mainly do. I don't usually dive into the depth of the article very often, but there's two articles today that we're going to read, and that's different. But I think we have to. So we'll get to that in a minute. But first things first, come over here and share with you guys and bring it up. And yeah, first things first. Pinky and the
Hmm.
Brains writer Gordon Bresak dies at 68.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you watch the Animaniacs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a lot of the '90s cartoon, early '90s and late '80s cartoons, he was part of those projects. So
Yeah. Well,
thank
and
you for
it's
all.
yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
I said,
continue. Yeah.
and thank you so for all the entertaining years that you have provided.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, you're right, Bullet. Have been on DNQFE. I apologize. Yeah, no, Pinky and the Brain, I remember when that came out. I was a bit older, but it was so wonderfully written and so funny, unlike a lot of things these days, that I loved. I loved Pinky and the Brain. I watched every episode of that. That was just killer, genius stuff, man. Animaniacs too. Very, very clever stuff. So much so that I made sure I showed it to my kids later, which of course they were done by then, I'm pretty sure. But I showed syndication to them because they're just brilliant stuff. Yeah, I really appreciate what this guy did. And 68, man, that's pretty young. That's pretty young for especially this day and age. You should be getting into your 70s, early 80s these days, pretty regular. But I don't know, Todd. What do you think, dude? Did you enjoy Pinky and the Brain?
No, I didn't watch Pinky and the Brain.
No, that's too bad, dude. You should go check some of it out. It's genius writing, dude. Really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to another little point, which is aside from this, of course, Mr. Bresak, safe journey, sir, and condolences to his family, of course. But my wife and I, we haven't finished, but we've watched what 7 episodes of the Dark Crystal, and I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything away, but boy, it's interesting to me because it's probably the best attempt at puppetry I've ever seen. There's an extremely great effort going on by the Jim Henson Company there to put on the Dark Crystal. Puppets are limited to a point. I mean, there's a certain you can't go beyond a certain level because it's puppets. But they're giving us the most premier puppet thing you could possibly create. It's a lot of fun. The acting's pretty good. The general story concept is very solid. The only thing that's holding it back for me is one, it's puppets, particularly the Gelflings. I mean, unfortunately, there's moments where it's like, yeah, that's a puppet, right? And it doesn't meld like the Muppet Show used to. The Muppet Show, yeah, they're puppets, but it just flowed so well. I don't know what it was, but occasionally it does kind of they're puppets. It comes in your head. But I think the big problem is the consistency with the writing because there's some major plot holes, and I I don't know what to say because it's absolutely brilliant. But at the same time, it could have been better, I think. And if Jim Henson was still alive, he wouldn't have allowed that because that guy was a pedantic perfectionist. But it just comes to my mind because Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs here from Gordon Bresak, they're so brilliantly written. You know what I mean? And this Dark Crystal is great fun. I really love it, but it's just lacking in a touch in that area. Have you guys checked out Dark Crystal at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you thinking on it?
I'm only on like episode 3,
Hmm.
so I mean, I don't, I like it so far. Obviously, I watch stuff like that for the artistry, and
Sure.
uh, it's moving. I like how how fast it's going, and it's what 10 hours of a prequel
Brilliance.
story that
Yeah.
is supposed to bring you up pretty close to the movie itself. So
Hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of really good things about it that I like.
There are, and it gets better, and it gets better, and it gets better. Yeah, I'm not knocking it. I think it's brilliant. I love it, but at the same time, it's just lacking in a couple areas, and but I'm not gonna knock on it though because I think it's a great attempt. I mean, hard work. I mean, they put their heart and soul into it. You can tell, right? So I'm really appreciating that. It just popped in my head because I'm sitting here. We're trying to show some respect to Mr. Bresek's life and career, and it just his writing and of course the team around Pinky and the Brain. It's just freaking brilliant, man. Brilliant
Mm.
writing from Pinky and the Brain. Animaniacs too. Great stuff. And it's I just think the puppetry is just stellar on Dark Crystal. I just think they're a little lacking in the writer department, unfortunately. And good that Bullet accepts my apology. Thank you very much, sir. Roger says, I'd love to be on this show to give an opinion or two. Dude, just hit me up in the thing. We'll get you on here, dude. No problem. Eric Hawkins says, oh, yeah, love that Animaniac stuff. Even though I was older, it was great stuff. All the great songs. Yeah, yeah, it was. And that's the thing, too, because, Eric and I, and we're very similar age, I think, you and I, Eric. But yeah, I was definitely older. But it didn't matter. It was freaking brilliant. Just awesome stuff, dude. So much so that even as an older person, I still showed it to my children later. And Lady Celtic Moon says, "Made it here. Nice to have you here." Eric
I, th-
continues.
I I think that show was on when I lived in Florida, so there was no time for that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's just something I agree because at that time I was very busy doing stuff too. But I caught an episode of it, and I think it was on. It was on at a time that I was free or doing other things, but I could have a TV on at the same time. And I'm not sure. I think it was an afternoon show or something like that. But it was really well done, man. Really well done. Eric says, "I love Muppets so much. It got me a Jim Henson Funko Pop. Wow, awesome. I haven't checked out Dark Crystal yet. Now, I'm suggesting Dark Crystal. You should go watch it. I'm just saying that it's just on the edge of absolutely perfect. You know what I mean? Which is saying a lot. But it's a beautiful effort. But unfortunately, this is not the only announcement of a death today. We had another one. Denelli?
Terrence Dicks, Doctor Who writer and script editor, dies at 84.
Yeah, now
So
much better, much better. 84, much better than
yeah,
63. Yeah.
right. And Terrence, for those who um, don't know or not aware or don't care, he was part of that Doctor Who long running series
Mhm.
and provided a lot of stories, a lot of novelized books. He was one of those writers that had that quick, um, you know, that quick wit. And
Mhm.
if he was also part of the Avengers with John Steele and
That's
Miss
right.
Peel.
That's right.
So he's been all over the place. Um, and a lot of the stories that, that were timeless, that a lot of people like, came from this gentleman.
Mhm. Well,
So,
it's true, and I've certainly enjoyed many of his stories that he's written. Now, he is really part of the team that created a lot of these more earlier doctors than me. I'm from the oh, I can't remember his name, the brilliant doctor from the 70s. I'm more from his
Tom
favorite.
Baker.
Tom Baker, there it is. Yeah, yeah, I love that guy. But and he did some of those too. He did some of those
Hmm.
too. But he's more coming from the earlier stuff. But Doctor Who, I grew up and loved Doctor Who. It's really sad to see what they've done to Doctor Who. But once again, anything that men could possibly like, they are tearing apart because it's time. It's just time, right? Men can't possibly be allowed to have anything that's their own. Goodness gracious. I'm certainly glad that this wasn't going on during Mr. Dix's time, and but I've certainly enjoyed many things that he did. So I know this is a little more nuanced, and maybe everyone doesn't know Doctor Who or even the Avengers, but I certainly appreciate what he did, and safe journeys, of course, and condolences to his family. So, two deaths to
Yeah.
report today. One was a couple of days ago, actually, but
Yeah.
yeah, oof, goodness gracious. Anyway, let's move on. Now, this is a simple little article, doesn't have much to say to it, but it's certainly conversation worthy, I think. Denali.
Nathan Fillion joins the Suicide Squad. Yeah, and this is August 26th. Um, um, I felt more like they should have gave him a chance to be Green Lantern. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, we don't really know what he's got to be, though. We don't know. He's had some stuff voice acting. He's done several things here, but we don't really know what he's going to do. We know he's been with stuff with James Gunn before. This article
hmm
doesn't have much to it, of course, but we don't know exactly what he's going to do in that. Does anyone want to take a guess at what Nathan Fillion? He looks like he's lost some weight too. He got himself a
He
little
does.
healthy and chubby there, but he's lost weight, which is good. But any guesses on who he might be doing in the Suicide Squad?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Oh, maybe. Oh, Max Lord.
Oh, well, maybe Vandal Savage, maybe. I don't know what they're going to do with the storyline. Well, I don't know what they're going to do with the storyline at all. I know they
yeah.
screwed up last time by having them going against the Enchantress, and it's the Suicide Squad is a street level group. It's not epic ending the universe group. It's not the Avengers, right? And they screwed that up horribly. There's no way you should have had Harley Quinn running in with her complete lack of combat skills and her baseball bat fighting a literal goddess. It was stupid. It was just straight up stupid. So hopefully in the new Suicide Squad they've brought it down more street level where it should be, and it could be more practical. I don't know what they're going to do, but Vandal Savage might be a good enemy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You-
he's not gonna play like a superheroic enemy. I don't think.
I don't know. He might. He's
I think
very
he's
capable, dude.
Max Lord. Yeah.
It could be Max Lord. You could be right. I don't know.
Or Ted Cord. He could be
Huh?
playing Blue Beetle.
He could be. He could be the classic Blue Beetle. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I have no clue who he's going to play. I know they were trying to get him as Wonder Man in the Marvel for the longest time. They keep talking about it, but they just don't pull the trigger. I don't know why not. It's freaking Nathan Fillion. I mean, you don't get much more nerd credit than him, dude. This guy's like, he's royalty in the nerddom. You know what I mean?
What's his age though?
He's a little older than us, not much. I think he's in his 50s. I don't know. Maybe Dinale can check that real quick, but he's not that much older than us, I don't think. Let me see here. David Tennant is the best doctor. Fight me. I'm not
40.
going to fight you, Bullet. I think he's a great
He's 40.
doctor. He's
He's
40.
48.
Hey, so he's a year
48.
younger than me. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. But he's great, though. I love him. I've enjoyed everything he's done. Of course, most of us know him mainly from Firefly, which was criminally canceled by Tom Rothman, that absolute jackass. That guy is always causing trouble. Doesn't someone just get him away from movies? He does nothing but make trouble. The problem is he's really good at managing things. He's a good actual man, a corporate manager. I think he's really good at that. But that guy's,
Fox is interested in bringing it back only if Josh Whedon comes back
oh
with it.
God, we don't need Josh Whedon. We get someone else to do that, dude.
That was his show though.
Yeah, I know it was his show, but he's lost his damn mind, dude. He has become the Mark Waid of movies, dude.
Oof.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's 100% true.
He did mess up DC's Justice League. I know that.
Yeah, his attitude is horrible. He's got a horrible attitude, which we're going to get to something about that in a second here. And I'm irked, and I'm kind of curious what you get irked. Yes, I am definitely irked. It is irksome. Okay. All right.
All right.
But back to what Bullet was saying here about David Tennant. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that, dude. I think Tom Baker is my favorite because I grew up with him. But David Tennant killed that dude. He was a great doctor, man. Absolutely. He's too old for a Green Lantern. Maybe. Wildcat would be cool. Oh, dude, could he play a wily, wizened Wildcat? Could he do that?
Yeah, Wildcat is an older character now.
He
Mhm.
is. Yeah.
Something Grant. Is that Ted Grant?
Well, he's kind of a New Yorker boxer, old school
Right.
type of guy, the more rough and tumble blue collar type.
But he
Um,
was a hero during the All Star Squadron
he
days
was.
and
He was.
JSA days. So
That's right.
his timeline would be he's an older
An older guy. Yeah, for
sort
sure.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Would be Ted Grant
Yeah,
if
I'm
they're
just
going that
curious
route.
if could Nathan pull that off though, because that's not his normal shtick. But I love.
He probably could. He probably could. I mean, right now he's doing The Rookie, which is a cop show, and he's running around in
That's
that.
true. Yeah, that's true.
And he also did the that fan film of Uncharted
Yeah,
playing
that's right. I think
Nathan
he would be perfect
Drake.
for that guy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I loved him in Castle. Of course, he was playing a little bit of a smart but dim-witted at the same time. But he does that well, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Right.
think that's interesting. Wildcat would be cool. Someone else here says, "How about Nathan Drake?" We already talked about that.
Yeah.
We just, yeah,
Well, funny enough, I mean, after he pulled that fan trailer online, the whole talk of the Uncharted prequel and everything
hmm
of the young Nathan Drake just died down, and we haven't heard anything from about that film.
we don't want a young Nathan Drake anyway.
That's what
What's the
I'm
point?
getting.
Yeah.
My point is, I think he kind of killed that enthusiasm because they afterward they announced that everybody was talking about Nathan being Nathan.
Well, I do remember that when they were but just before they came out with the new Uncharted. The new Uncharted is all female all the time, right? And they were talking about making finally a Uncharted movie, but having it with the women, not Nathan Drake, right? They were mentioned, right? And I haven't heard a word of that since because that game bombed. But hmm, I hope they don't do that. But Fillion could be Nemesis. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. We like him though. We'd like to see more of him, and I really want to see him in the comic book movie because he wants to be in one. He's really, really wants to be in a comic book movie. He's been saying this for years. And I think it was because he was kind of chubby there for a while. I think that's why he wasn't getting casted. You know?
But that wouldn't have made sense because they had Chris Pratt, and he was chubby during Parks and Recreation, and lost weight to be in that role
Fair point.
after he got cast. Yeah,
Fair
so
point.
there.
Yeah. But anyway, interesting. Definitely looking forward to seeing what character he will be playing. Of course, more no more Fillion, the better, I would say. How about friggin' Batman? Ooh, Eric. Ooh, he might make a pretty good Bruce Wayne. What do you think about that, Todd?
I don't know.
It's not the first thing that comes to your head, but he's
No,
a
no.
good, versatile actor, though. He can do lots of stuff. He's not pigeonholed like, say, Robert De Niro or something like that, that only does
But he
Robert De
does
Niro.
have he's one of those guys with a style, right?
He is.
He has a style. And I don't know if you can get him out of that style because if you go, granted he's played different characters, whether it be
He
serious
has.
or funny, whatever. Jeff Goldblum, his style comes through no matter what part he
That's true.
plays.
Yeah. I think Blue
And no,
Beetle
that
is really the best choice so far. I've heard what you said, Todd. I think he'd be
yeah,
great as Beetle, dude. Perfect. Hmm.
that would make Booster excited because that might mean Booster Gold might get on screen
Ooh,
sometime.
oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. And Brian the Observer says he looks more like Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, he could do that too. But once again, it is outside of what he does best, though. True. No, he's way too old to play Booster Gold. Booster Gold needs to be a young person. But anyway, let's move on. Now, I put this here in order because I wanted to have a little bit of fun conversation because the next
Mhm.
conversation is not fun, not even a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this one first. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to do this one because I'm geared up for this. And you go ahead and announce it, Denali, but I'm going to dig into this one deep. Go ahead, dude.
All right. So Marvel removes the original essay
Mhm.
by Mark Waid criticizing America from Marvel Comics 1000.
Okay. Now, we all know of the debacle that is Mark Waid and his constant idiocy and foolish things he does, his absolutely SJW ways. We know all about this. We know about it, right? And his situation with Richard Meyer, which I believe they settled on, if I recall correctly. But Mark Waid, and all the stupidity and all the absolute blundering idiocy that he has done over the so many years, he's outdone himself. He has outdone himself because I'm going to read his little essay here, and let's see what our opinion is. Let's come and check it out. All right. Now, this is basically what they were doing is for Marvel Comics 1000, which is just a thing they put together to celebrate Marvel's 80th. It's not a thing, but they had a whole bunch of writers and artists doing little bits throughout the book, just kind of talking about characters and honoring the history of Marvel. Awesome, right? Sounds good. So of course they get Mark Waid involved. Obviously, he's a big part of Marvel, and especially here in the 21st century. But he, or even before in the 90s as well. But they gave him Captain America. And they said, you know what? Go out there, Mark, and write something inspirational. Give us something that Captain America would say. All right, pretty simple task, right? I mean, I could write that up in an afternoon, no problem. Captain America is a symbol of America. He's a soldier. He's law and order. It's not that hard thing to do, really. But this is what he put forward, and luckily, Marvel is not so far gone that they allowed it to go through because I'm actually a little surprised they didn't put it in anyway. Especially when you're thinking about the management that's going on over there and the absolute insanity. But it was too much for them even. So let's take a look. I'm going to read it. This is Captain America speaking, by the way, just so you know. I'm asked how it's possible to love a country that's deeply flawed. It's hard sometimes. The system isn't just. We've treated some of our own abominably. Worse, we've perpetuated the myth that any American can become anything, can achieve anything through sheer force of will. And that's not always true. This isn't the land of opportunity for everyone. The American ideals aren't always shared fairly. Well, make up your mind. You're contradicting yourself already. Sorry. Yet without them, we have nothing. With nothing, cynicism becomes reality. With nothing for the privileged and the disenfranchised, both our way of life ceases to exist. We must always remember that America, as imperfect as it is, has something. It has ideals that give it structure. When the structure works, we get schools, we get roads and hospitals. When we get a social safety net. More importantly, we have structure and we have a foundation upon which to rebuild the American dream. The equal opportunity can be available to absolutely everyone. Once again, you're contradicting yourself again, you jag off. America's systems are always flawed, but there are only mechanisms which to remedy inequality on a meaningful scale. Yes, it's hard and bloody work. Yes, it's hard and bloody work. Bloody work. But history has shown us that we can, bit by bit, right that system when enough of us get angry. Get angry. When enough of us take to the streets and force those in power to listen, to the streets we go. When enough of us call for revolution and say, injustice will not stand. That's what you can love about America. You absolutely freaking communist. Now, I don't know about you. Now, I probably read that too hyperbolically. I was just having fun with it, but I shouldn't have. I should have read that extremely sadly because this is a communist who wants blood in the streets and wants to see America taken over by revolution. Now, you can disagree with me, but I'm pretty sure I read it very clearly. Todd, do you have an opinion on this absolute insanity that's coming out of Mark Waid?
um, d- this is whatever. Like, is he all of a sudden now sounding jaded? Is that his
It sounds
problem?
like Karl Marx or fucking Lenin is what he sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know if I have an opinion, honestly.
How about you,
It's
Dinale?
weird.
Let me read this quote, and
Hmm.
then you can guys tell me where I come. Compromise where you can. Where you can't, don't. Even if someone else is telling you that something is wrong, is something right. Even if the whole world is telling you to move, it is your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye, and say, "No, you move."
Yeah, that sounds like something Captain America would say, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote that?
That's Christopher Marcus.
Okay, well that sounds like Captain America,
Yep,
right?
because it is Captain America,
Yeah.
and he wrote that for the. Um, he was one of the writers for the Winter Soldier, the first Avenger, um, and some other things. But yeah, and some of the comic books. So that's what Captain America is, and we have to be like Captain America. Compromise where we can. Don't compromise if we don't, because that's truly what America is. That's why we
Sure.
have the Constitution. That's why we have the Bill of Rights. That's why we have the amendments. That's why we have the Electoral College
Yeah.
to get everybody a say.
Now, I'm not going to read this second part, which is basically what it ended up in the comic book, and this is fine.
Right.
This is what Captain would say. It's perfectly fine. But this right here, this original entry, which they didn't put in, which I said is great that someone over there realized it was too much. But let's break this down a little bit. And see how many times not only does he contradict himself, that he's conflicted with his own ideas. Let's take a look. I asked how it's possible to love a country that's deeply flawed. All right, well, is the country flawed or are the people flawed?
I
Would
think
be
he
my
means
question.
system. I'm thinking he's thinking system.
I
The
think he is
system is
too. I think he is. But I would say that I don't think the system's flawed at all. I think the people might well be, but the system itself,
no. I think when you think about this system, like the people, it should be the people working the system. I think there's sort of a. I mean, we can go. That's a whole different show, but obviously, you get the idea that politics is flawed,
sure,
altruism is flawed.
sure,
You can't. Term limits seems like a great idea, but we can't even get that passed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Things like that.
yeah. No,
So
I
it is
agree with
flawed.
that.
You gotta. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. I guess for me, being a libertarian, a constitutionalist, I look more at the founding fathers and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution that they put in place, and I see that as a great attempt at understanding human nature and doing its best to deal with our foibles. Right, because that's one of the
Mhm.
things that the Constitution did really well, and because our founding fathers were not silly pie in the eye, pie in the sky type of people. They understand humans are flawed. They understand what we do to each other and what we're capable of. And that system that they put in place was a brilliant attempt at mitigating human nature, right? And this is something that
Mhm.
people don't really talk about. And I think it's really because a lot of people don't really understand the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. They don't understand the founders, and it's a shame, really. And I always suggest to everybody, read the Constitution. Of course, you should have read it at least once in your life, Bill of Rights. But actually, more importantly, go read the Federalist Papers because the Federalist Papers were put together to explain their decisions, why they did what they did. So if you want to truly understand the founders and what they were thinking and how actually absolutely brilliant they actually were, you need to read the Federalist Papers. You need to do that. But let's continue. It's hard sometimes. The system isn't just. We've treated some of our own abominably. Okay, yes, and this is across all areas, though, Mark, because he's talking about blacks and slavery is what he's talking about. But there's been plenty of other people of all colors that have been oppressed, right? I don't know why they're so stuck on this. I mean, they go on and on and
The
on about it, but
Irish,
yet
the German, every new immigrant
everybody.
wave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And besides, in America right now, the poorest demographic in America are the Appalachian people, which are whites. And they also have some of the lowest crime rate in the country, by the way. But yet they're the poorest. So, I mean, what are you on about? Waid. But anyway, worse, we've perpetuated the myth that any American can be anything, can achieve anything through sheer force of will. Why is that a perpetuation, Mark? We have example after example after example of people finding the American dream. It happens all the time. Our free market system that we have in America allows for anyone to come to the top. Look, I don't know. Have we ever heard of this little guy called Barack Obama? I mean, was he held back? What about since we want to get on black people because it's obviously what he's talking about? How about some famous athletes like, say, Lawrence Taylor, right? Great success. Michael Jordan, of course, another one that comes to my mind. What about some of our actors that have come up or rappers? I mean, look how much success they're having. I mean, they're making lots of money and they're finding. I don't like a lot of the messages they have to say, but they found success. So what is it you're on about here? It doesn't make sense because you can come into America and through sheer force of will make something of yourself. That's right. Try to do that in other countries. See what happens, dude. And that's not always true. Of course, it's not always true, but it's often true. Once again, you're an idiot. This isn't the land of opportunity for everyone, and nor should it be. Can you think you can sustain a country where everyone has the opportunity? But they misunderstand the difference between the equality of opportunity and the equality of outcome, right? To be successful, it takes a lot of hard work and it takes luck as well,
right.
right?
And kind of to add that, for example, you mentioned black people who are athletes. How about inventors like
Yeah,
George
sure.
Washington Carver, born a slave, created peanut butter.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I mean,
Patricia Bat, first one to be the first black African doctor to receive a medical pennant. She's the one who did the cataract
yeah.
laser pro for the cataract treatment.
Of course. Yeah. There's
So
plenty of black people who've done plenty of things in our history,
yeah,
and they get the
Right.
accolades that they deserve, right? But he says the American ideals aren't always shared fairly. Well, they're there to be earned, though. You've already covered this
right,
once again.
But didn't his elitist knuckleheadedness get the better of him, and he tried to do something unjust
Of
by
course he did.
trying to make it so right? So try to make it
Yeah.
so somebody else couldn't make their
Yeah.
living,
Yeah. But
do
you
it what
see,
he
that's a white
does.
man, and none of these
And
things apply to white men because white men are the ultimate evil, and somehow he forgot that he's a white man. You see.
mm.
Yeah, this is the idiocy that's coming out of these people. All of these noisemakers and troublemakers, other than Black Lives Matter, which is another terrorist group, but other than that, it's a bunch of these elite, rich, upper middle class white people whining about how good they've had it. And what it is they're bored and their life is far too easy, and they have no clue what sacrifice actually means. None at all, right? Yet without them, we have nothing. Okay, so pick a lane, you bastard. All right. With nothing, cynicism becomes reality. Okay. Well, you are the epitome of cynicism, it seems to me. Um,
This sounds like Waid after he settled with
maybe,
with Richter.
maybe this is bitterness. Yeah. With
Mm.
nothing, for the privileged and the disenfranchised both. Okay. Well, once again, who's disenfranchised? You
Himself. You gotta write. You gotta put everything into I and
yeah,
me, and
that's
then
true.
it starts making sense.
Yeah, yeah, because you've already covered the fact that everyone has the opportunity, and they do. But anyway, the main thing it really gets to me is when the structure works, we get roads, hospitals, yada yada yada, American Dream, which he hates. But he obviously hates America. But this right here, this paragraph, this one is the real beyond the pale, because all of this is just stupid communist speak, is what it is. But this right here, this is a problem. Yeah, American systems are flawed, but there are only mechanism, which again, which you hate. You've already stated you hate, but yet you're relying on them. So once again, pick a lane with which to remedy inequality on a meaningful scale. Okay, okay. Yes, it's hard. And now here we go. Yes, it's hard and bloody work. Bloody work. But history has shown us that we can, bit by bit, right the system when enough of us get angry. Bloody work, get angry. When enough of us take to the streets. So we got bloody work, get angry, take to the streets, and force those in power to listen. When enough of us call for revolution to say injustice will not stand. So what do we have here? Bloody work, get angry, to the streets, force revolution.
He's calling for insurrection
He
against
is.
the United
He's
States.
calling for violence, is what he's doing.
Hmm.
And this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Matter of fact, from now on, I'm calling him Benedict Wade. That's his new nickname. Benedict
Yeah.
Wade. Traitor. I don't know. I can't get past it, Todd. I can't. This is revolutionary speak, and we can't have that.
Especially a guy who's used his pen to be creative his entire life.
Yeah, and
He
made
doesn't.
money
There isn't a better way. There
and
isn't a better way.
success.
Yeah, there isn't a better way to get your point across than to tell people to get to the streets.
Hmm.
Well, why don't you go live in Portland
Yeah, he should.
and
Maybe he does,
go
for
into
all I
the
know.
streets? And when you get beat because you're a ginger,
Hmm.
you can cry then, knucklehead.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But let me come over here, chat, and see if these guys had anything to say on this. Um, bye, Roger. Thanks for coming. Michael Beacon says, I don't think they settled. You may be thinking of the quartering and his attacker. Okay, fine. But if Wade and Mayer settled, we would be hearing more about it. Okay, I'm not 100% sure. You're probably right. Comic Book Bob says hi. Bullet says, but Mark Wade is mentally ill. Well, so expecting him to do the right thing is possible. Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing, though, Bullet. Is that an acceptable excuse? Do we simply write all of these Marxist revolutionary communists that are building up in our country? Do we just simply, mark it, check it off to, oh, well, they're just mentally ill? Is that acceptable? Is that what we do? Is that not what we've been doing that has allowed them to get to this point where we sat by and just simply took care of our own life and our own business because we're busy, right? We're living our
If he
life.
if he if he knows the right and wrong, then he has accountability of his action.
Yeah,
Being mentally ill is not an excuse
yeah. We can't.
for anything.
Yeah, we can't keep just pawning it off on, oh, they're just silly people. We can't do that anymore. They've become violent. Look at Antifa. Look what they're doing in the streets. They're causing harm. It's gone beyond just oh, that's cute. It's not cute anymore, dude. But anyway, I get your point. Ethan says, "I'm surprised that I didn't make it through. At least someone had enough common sense to stop it." Yeah, no, thank God, right? Because that would have been my epic. Hello, Sean. How you doing? Michael says Japan settled it well when that one dude stabbed the head of the Socialist Party, preventing the rise of communism in Japan and preserving anime titties for us all. True. Well, now, interesting you say that because there is a communist party in Japan. They have more of a parliamentary system. They have no real voice or power. The Japanese are very happy at being capitalistic, but it's interesting you know that little piece of history. Jay Z and Beyonce say hi. Yeah, right. And the thing is, he would then go out and probably say, "Well, that's just an extreme case." Well, is it? Most white people don't go up and become superstars and rich. White people have to work their whole damn life just hoping and praying that they can get to some point of retirement. So, what is it you're on about, right? Um, you're everywhere, Beacon. Yes, he is. Bullet says she kissed me on the left nut. Salty seconds. I don't know what that means, dude. I'm afraid to ask. Seven's Legions is live. Okay, okay. Peanut. Oh, go. Oh, goodness gracious. What manifesto did Wade steal this from? Right? I mean, he probably did steal it. You're right. Eric says, "Do we know what his rewritten essay said?" Well, he didn't write it. Someone else did. I can't remember the dude's name offhand. I can't remember the dude, but they had someone else write it, and it's right here. But I mean, it's fine. It's pretty standard Captain America stuff, really. It's like I said, I could have wrote this in an afternoon. It's not that big a deal. I don't know. You know, what's your problem, Mark Wade? Anyway, I
He's just
can't.
salty.
Yeah, he just fall. I can't beat on it anymore. But it's just,
Yeah.
this is outrageous. It's outrageous. Mark Wade has done a lot of dumbass shit. I mean, it's ding ding.
Dang,
But
yeah.
this is beyond the pale. This is too much, dude. It's too much, and he should be called out for this. He most certainly should be called out for this, and I hope he is.
Uh,
Yeah,
well, let's call him out.
I am calling him out. I have no power. I have no authority or influence whatsoever, but
Tell
I
him to
am
come
calling
and
him
have
out.
sit down, bastard. That's what I say. Get him in here.
Oh yeah, but that would be a nothing conversation. It would be me making sense and then him saying Nazi. That'd be it. That'd be
Mm,
the whole conversation, dude. You know it. They can't. That's the problem with these leftists, extreme leftists. I mean, a liberal you can have a conversation with them, right? But a leftist you can't, and they have no ground to stand on. So all they do is just scream epitaphs at you because they have nothing to say, right? But anyway, let's move
right.
on. Move on. Moving on. Oh, Denali, what's this?
Ooh,
Joker gets the 8-minute standing ovation at the premiere in Venice Film Festival. The I think they were interviewing another guy and saying yes, that Joker has a good consideration to go into the Oscar race.
Hmm.
So everything's kind of pointing out that they made this into an Oscar bait movie.
Which
Um,
I don't mind though. Do you mind that?
mhm.
Does that bother you?
no, because
Yeah.
it could, like, we talked a little bit about this on an episode on Indicom TV, where this could be a good way to, or sort of be a backdoor pilot, right? This could
Hmm.
be the a character that creates sort of um, like the name mm, connotates sort of a, oh, someone else can take on this moniker. He's created a movement, so to speak, or not a movement. I wouldn't call it a movement, but you know what I mean. So this, who knows if this character lives or dies or whatever happens in the end. But it's what is it, Albert Fleck, or is it Alfred Fleck?
The character's name,
Arthur Fleck.
Arthur Fleck.
Arthur Fleck,
Yeah.
right? So this isn't Jack Napier. This is Arthur Fleck, and obviously in the past, stories having to do with the Joker, it was once thought that Arthur Fleck was the Joker. Um, but because they were doing this "Who is the Joker" thing, this was what, in the 70s. So Arthur Fleck was one of those characters.
Yeah.
So who knows where this ends and what this leads to? If he ends up playing the Joker, fine. If this creates somebody that the Joker copies, fine. Either way, this could be a backdoor, great idea to service DC that has thrown spaghetti up against the wall nonstop, and maybe this one sticks.
Maybe. Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what Joaquin does with it, dude. I don't care about all the other side things. I get it. I'm not looking at it as a Joker movie. I'm just looking at watching Joaquin's performance. That's really what I'm after. And it's cool. I don't even know if this is true. You can never really trust the media. Did it really get an 8 minute standing ovation? I don't know, maybe. But it looks the trailer's just killer. I mean, so I'm looking forward to it, and I get your point, Todd. And you, there might be some truth to it for sure. Let's see what the chat is saying over here. You need to watch Clone High, everyone. Well, why, Bullet? Tell us why. Brian the Observer says, if we are under communism, Waid couldn't be working in comics. We might not even have comics. Probably not, dude. And, well, they might be a propaganda version of them.
Yeah.
Eric says, let's get Waid on coffee. Now, what? Now, hold on a second. It's called Coffee Aki Habata. What the hell are you doing over here, Eric? Aki Brada Bra. That's not even close. Do better, Eric. It's funny.
Here's the thing about DC in this movie, right? They
Yeah,
set themselves up to be able to do this. Hey, we told you it wasn't a Joker movie. We didn't tell you to go see it. So they can deny that, right? Like,
right, right.
if it's bad, they can say, hey, we told you ahead of time this isn't our house film. If it's really good, they go, oh, yeah, see, you like the Joker, huh? Well, he's going to be the big villain in the next movie.
Hmm.
It may not be played by Joaquin Phoenix, but that doesn't matter. You're
Yeah,
setting up something that people go, oh, that was so cool. But if it's bad, they go, hey, we told you ahead of time. This wasn't for you.
yep. No, they're covering their butt. But Bullet does make a good point as well. He's basically kind of supporting your side of it. It has the potential to legitimize comic book movies. I get that. I get both what you and Todd are saying, and you're probably right. I'm not arguing with you. But I would just I would bring forward Exhibit A, Logan. Yeah, no comment. Nothing.
It was a great movie.
It was a
It
great movie.
deserved it deserved more recognition than it got.
It
The
was a
only
it was a western.
It was
But the
awesome,
thing
though.
that hurt it
Really
the
well done.
most is the thing that hurt that movie the most is what it was always tied to. What that character was always tied to is, oh man, what a waste that Logan was in this film. What a waste that Wolverine was in this film. They haven't made a they made a good movie around one character.
They did. Well,
And
I mean, that's some of the best acting I've seen out of Patrick Stewart in a long time, dude. I mean, he killed
oh
it.
yeah.
It was a great movie. It was really a great movie. Now, the
And
the, the storytelling
it,
as far as comic books go was a bit wonky, but a great movie.
do you realize that that has been a separate universe in itself, that all the X movies, right? And they've all
Sure.
kind of been tied together. I mean, they all absolutely have been tied together. So nobody gives that enough credit. Now, granted, there's some flops and not flops. There's some movies that weren't so good in there, but there's some excellent movies in there, and they weren't always bad. And remember, the first X Men movie was so long ago. We just wanted the X Men to be on film.
That's right.
And
No, a lot.
granted,
That's a lot of
you
truth to
know,
that. Yeah.
right? So it wasn't like you didn't get what you wanted. You did. Granted, oh, I thought Sabretooth would be a little bit more aggressive and feral, and I thought this character would be more like that. You know what? You even eventually got Colossus on screen, who looked fantastic for like 2 seconds in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And then, of course, we had him in Deadpool too, which I thought they did a good job with it. But let me see if keep up with this chat here. Eric continues. He says, "Coffee Abra Cadabra." Well, that is pretty cool. That would actually have been a clever name too, I think. Uh, but no, it's Akihabara. Get it right. Michael Beacon says, as long as Joker doesn't look like he's got a SoundCloud mixtape, it might be okay. I might be okay with it. All right. Zach is offering me another opinion. Espresso depresso. No, no. Um, Eric says, I'm just a naive white male American. I don't understand these big Japanese words. And then Bullet says, coffee Alibaba. Well, you do realize that's a Chinese thing, so you're insulting me. That's what you're doing, Bullet. You're insulting me. Okay, let's move on to the next thing here. Oh, goodness
Move on.
gracious. Okay, do I care about this? Go ahead, Dinale.
This is from We Got Cover, so you can throw a lot of salt on this instead of a pinch. Sony and Disney are meeting again next week to discuss Spider-Man.
Mhm.
apparently because of the backlash and everything, the studios are coming back to talk about Spider-Man. Sony is coming with a counter offer that is asking, yeah, we'll let Spider-Man be in the MCU if you let Spider-Man go into Venom and all the others into the Spider-Verse and all the Sony stuff as well,
Right.
kind of
Which,
deal. So that's going to be the talking point, apparently. Yeah.
well,
which they
more
always had.
they always
No, they
had. Yeah,
always had.
they did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
this is
understand.
bullshit.
I think this has all
Yeah.
been about leveraging. I think Sony got their ass handed to them by the coverage. I don't think they expected the negative reaction because this was really their fault. They thought, oh, we don't need Marvel or we
That's right.
don't need Disney.
Hmm.
And so what Marvel said is, okay, you don't, but we're taking Kevin Feige out of the equation, so you don't get him either. So going forward, you are on your own.
Hmm.
So they thought, well, okay, we won an Oscar with the Spider Verse movie, and you know what? They really don't have a friggin' clue. They don't. The Venom
No,
movie was horrible.
it
It was
was
just
really
a
bad, but it
surprise
made
luck.
money though, Todd.
It did
It
make
it
money,
made
but it
money.
was but a lot of times movies that are bad do make money because
Yeah,
we're just waiting to see that particular thing on screen again.
yeah.
And then it gets seen and everybody goes, "Oh boy, that wasn't what I thought." But okay.
Well, I personally think this is happening because it came out that mainly Sony is to blame, is what it came out. Sony was the one
Right.
being the real jerks about it. Marvel was doing their Disney was doing their typical stuff, sure, but Sony's the bad guy, right? And I think that's why we're seeing this is because they're in damage control. Because in the
Mhm.
end, we talked about this months and months ago. Sony doesn't want Disney involved. They want to do their own thing and make their own money. They don't want Disney's involvement. Me personally, I kind of wish nobody had Spider-Man right now because from what it looks like, what Disney is moving forward with this new wave of Marvel, I don't want Spider-Man in that because who knows what kind of craziness they're going to do with him, and I certainly don't want Spider-Man in Sony's hands because they've proven they're absolute morons and SJW lit. I don't need it. I don't want it at all. I'd rather just see Spider-Man not have anything going on at all, personally. I mean, because it's all nonsense, all of it. But what are you going to do? And Bullet regrets nothing. Fine, fine, okay. Brian the
You know
Observer
what?
says, go ahead.
If they were smart, wouldn't Disney use Disney Plus sort of as a testing ground?
I think they are.
Before you go throwing She-Hulk in front of an Avengers movie, don't you think you just throw She-Hulk on the screen and see if anybody even likes a She-Hulk?
I think they are. I
You
think
know,
that's why all
I
those. I
hope
mean,
they
there's so
do.
many shows coming out from Marvel on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, make us want the movie, make us, throw us a couple of bones on in your streaming service and then go, "Oh wow, if they put those five guys together, we'd love to see that." You know, feed us something. Stop giving us this nonsense where you're going to make every girl popular because it doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't. It has to be organic. You can't force people to like stuff. It just doesn't work like that. And
No,
this is proven way back in the 40s and 50s. I mean, I don't know why they don't learn. Young people, they're just smarter than the rest of us, I guess.
that
Brian,
Natalie Portman movie was horrible, where
Natalie
she goes
Portman
through
is
like
horrible. Yeah,
that. She goes through that sort of, like I don't know what it was, like a goo, and comes out on another side of somewhere.
yeah. No,
That was a
Natalie
horrible
Portman's
movie.
horrible. Yeah, I agree. She's awful. But she obviously has slept with the right people. Mhm. Like Gwyneth Paltrow, and now she's complaining about it. It's wonderful. You go sleep with people, you get opportunity to make millions of dollars, and then you come back and complain about it and make more money. Rock on, dude. That's a good business plan, I'd say. But Brian the Observer says Disney has to do something after stranding the cruise staff in the Bahamas. Oh, that's an interesting bit of news I didn't know. Eric Hawkins says, more Spider Man drama. Geez, let it die. The past must die. Oops, that is Star Wars. Yeah, right. Disney should just buy Sony and get it over with. Yeah, right. She-Hulk before Crazy Carol. Well, yeah, but dude, they'll probably give us the modern take on She-Hulk, which is equally awful. It's basically, I love food shows. I'm gonna enjoy the food shows. Girls, yay! Girls
No,
love
no,
each
no.
other. Slumber
Let me.
parties.
You're talking about the Morio Otaku or whatever it was, book. Yes, that did not do well. It
No.
did not do well in sales. It did not do well in any review.
Mhm.
So they actually, I just found this out. They changed She-Hulk back. She doesn't look grotesque. She looks more feminine again. So they realized, ooh, what a big mistake. Everyone liked the feminine looking She-Hulk. And they got rid of the bulky, veiny, monstery looking She-Hulk. They
Yeah.
did that inside of a half a year.
Sure.
So they know their mistakes.
Oh, it's all propaganda, dude. That's the problem. The people who are in charge of Marvel Comics, particularly, it's about propaganda. They're trying to sell their ideals, and they're not making money at it. But the sugar daddy is letting them flow, and until the sugar daddy comes in and says no more. They'll keep doing it, dude. Whereas DC Comics, we see that there's obviously a board of directors over there. It's like, hey, you're not making enough money, get on it. And DC will do little stupid things every now and then they straighten themselves out because they have a board of directors that demanding they have success, right? And that's obviously not happening in Marvel. But anyway, let's move on to the last story I'm going to cover today. And
Mhm.
this is kind of interesting, Dinale. Go ahead.
All right, so this is from Bounty into Comic. Several high-profile game developer accused of abuse and sexual assault.
Okay, now the first thing that comes to your mind, okay, more men being accused in the Me Too stuff. That's the first thing that pops in your head, right? We just had the stupid Zoe Quinn thing and that evil, absolute evil woman and what she did to Alec. The article is different. Let's take a look. Within the same week, several high profile game developers were accused of emotional and sexual abuse by women with whom they had previously had professional or personal relationship with. Okay, pretty standard. The shocking wave of allegation was prompted by Nuovo award winning indie developer Natalie Lawhead, who on August 26 published an exclusive blog post to her personal website, which included several shots of emails allegedly exchanging between Lawhead and her abuser, detailing the abuse she received from Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, and Elder Scrolls Skyrim composer Jeremy Soule. All right. So it's more of this cancel culture type of thing, right? He talked about the mystical power of women hold over men with sex. How many men are helpless and they need sex. How he needs sex and a relationship so he can write his music. Okay, well, first of all, that he's just trying to get laid, baby. He's just trying to get laid. What's your problem? It's pretty standard. We can't let the left nut be full and the right nut be empty.
I hear the sousaphone already.
It's coming, right? But I'm
All right.
serious. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not apologizing for that pun either. You take it. Um, he talked about how composing is sexual and how he will write about sex as inspiration in his music. He talked about how performing music is very sexual. He wrote songs about women that he had relationship with this way. What does he? What he does to women is what inspires his music. Okay. Once again, he's just trying to get laid. What is your? There's nothing wrong with any of these statements. So what you're trying to tell me is that as a woman, I cannot have any sexual interaction with you, whether it be physical or verbal. This is your take on sexuality. Well, let me tell you something here, baby doll. Women enjoy sex just as much as men do. Just because you're a dried up old cunt doesn't mean that everybody is. Mm, mm, I said it. Ding ding, triple ding.
Yep, going international with your.
Going international. Well, I live over here near Oceania, so that has different meaning than it does in America, and that's my excuse.
Uh
Okay.
huh. Uh huh.
Uh-huh. Let's see. The work he composed for video games is based on this. He needs women to inspire him. Okay. There was so much of this very uncomfortable, inappropriate stuff. Well, then you weren't dating him. You certainly weren't interested in him because when a guy comes up and says, come on, baby, even when you're not feeling like you really want to have sex, but he just wants to pop a nut, that's pretty standard crap. So all you have to do is either say no or not no. But then he raped her. Hold on, let's get to that. He made advances on me, and I explained that I didn't want this and wanted a friendship. Oh, okay. Well, then, different.
If you,
He was
this
very
is so
threatening, and he didn't listen. He made it clear that it's him or bust. Okay, so he basically said, "Well, look, I want to be in a relationship with you. Let's have sex." And she doesn't want to have sex. He said, well, "Okay, well, if you don't, well, then I'm going to move on." So, what's your problem? That's a pretty standard thing, especially for young people. He raped me. All right, well, now there's an accusation. He raped me. All right, well, that's pretty straightforward. So, where's the police documentation? Where's his arrest record? How many years he get in prison? Just curious, right? Because he raped her, right? I mean, it's obvious, right? Throughout this time, Jeremy acted like a victim and blamed women he was in relationships with or forced relationships on for what he was doing. Okay. So she's been silent, but she's coming out because Zoe Quinn and Zoe just inspired her, inspired her. And I've been silent about this for almost my entire career, and I can't do it anymore. Sorry if this is rambling and messy. I'm scared shitless to out an industry legend like this. Of course, it's Zoe Quinn coming on doing her thing, and then it continues. But my point, I don't want to get into all of them. We've already heard it, and it's just
I
going to
haven't
piss
even
me
heard
off.
of this guy or this girl.
Yeah,
Why do
right.
they? What is this whole thing with legends and these people? Like, you made a video game.
You're not a
You
legend.
made a video. I know. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, 1,000 people work on a video game. Like, you're any more important than those other 1,000 people?
Yeah, no,
Jeez,
they're
I can
not.
understand like the creator of Metal Gear Solid. I forget his name. You probably remember his name. You know, that's a guy you kind of revere a little bit. Like, wow, he did all those things. Or
Well,
Final Fantasy
Kojima is
creator.
the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
He
Kojima.
is a
Right.
legend, actually.
Right.
But no, these aren't legends. They're just trying to make their story sound more important. But I'm
Jesus.
not going to go through the other ones because you already know those, and I don't want to get on the Zoe Quinn thing because it's just going to really, really piss me off. But this one right here, I just want to cover this top one here. I never heard of you, never heard of him. Okay, and he does music for a couple cool games. Awesome. I don't know who you are at all. All right, you're some kind of indie developer. And what it sounds like to me is you were in a pseudo relationship with him. He wanted to get laid, you didn't, and then he just left and probably pissed you off. So then you accused him. You're accusing him of rape. How far after? Because here's the thing: these women. Now I'm going to give you a statistic that you might not believe, but it's the absolute truth. 95% of all rape accusations that make it to make it to the grand jury. Sorry, 95% of all cases that make it to the grand jury are found to be false accusations. Rape, 95%. Now that's not counting all the other ones that the cops know is nonsense and don't even bother to push it into a grand jury. Right? We're just talking about the ones that get to a grand jury. 95%. Now you don't hear people because what you do hear is people say, "Oh, it happens very rarely. You can't use that as an excuse." Yes, you can. 95% is a pretty big damn number, right? And this ticks me off because you ruin people's lives. Matter of fact, you cause people to die, as we saw here with Zoe Quinn this week, with these kind of accusations. And this whole listen and believe is absolute nonsense. We have an adversarial court system, judicial system in America for a reason because it works. Right. And this listen and believe, Me Too crap is about dismantling a successfully operating judicial system. And this is nonsense. He raped me. Well, okay, where's the proof? Where is the court cases? Where are the police involvement? Oh, you were scared. What were you scared about? Women run to the police for rape all the time. We just mentioned the 95% of the fact that it's false accusations. But here we are again. And why is she talking about that? Because she was inspired by Zoe Quinn. This is nonsense. And I certainly hope that this fella, this Jeremy Soule, I certainly hope that he does not react like Alec does. I really hope he doesn't. Because understand, we do not take any of these things seriously anymore. Why? It goes back to a little story that you might have heard when you were a kid. The little boy, or in these cases, the little girl who cried wolf, right? And this is actually hurting people who actually have things that need to come to the forefront, and they get ignored because of all of this angst that's being built up by these fake accusations, this fake nonsense. This is complete nonsense here. What you're saying to me in this is just a dude trying to get laid. If you don't like it, move on. And then out of nowhere, where him's giving you an ultimatum saying, okay, we're going to be together, or I'm leaving. All right, fine. Now, I'm not getting into the moral or ethical stature of the man, but it's pretty simple point. It's you do or don't, right? And then we jump into he raped me. I mean, look at how abrupt it is, and then nothing. Screw you, Natalie. Screw you. Screw you and your hate and your stupidity. And I really hope Jeremy does not take this to heart as we've seen other people do. I'm sorry. That's my take on it. I can't stand this shit. It pisses me off, dude. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's evil, dude. It's evil. Anybody else want to take that?
No,
No, not really.
Okay.
it's an epidemic, though.
It
It's a
is an
freaking
epidemic, dude. I mean that statistic I'm giving you is not exaggerated. 95%, dude.
I was
Not
in that statistic. I
you
was
were.
accused of something, yeah, and I was put in the hot lamps twice. And then I remembered something that blew her, her whatever she said into a lie. But I
Mhm.
remembered why she was in the pool room. I was living in somebody's pool room, it's a mansion, and they had a pool house and stuff. And she was in the pool house on the 1-800 line for the business, because the business is in there, calling her boyfriend who was overseas. So the day that she said that, I remembered that's why she was in there. And so I eventually went and told them that, and they asked her, and they brought it, they put her in the hot lights and basically blew a hole in her whole freaking story.
Yeah,
I never threw a rock up to her window the day I moved in and called her down to my room. It never freaking happened, but I had to go through all that.
that's right.
And I eventually remembered the one fact that saved me. Of course, the attorney general wasn't even going to touch it. There was no proof. There was no evidence, but still, I had to go through a lot. I actually left Florida because of it. So
Yeah.
this kind of shit happens. This
It
is
happens
real.
a lot, dude, and it's not cool. It's nothing new. This is not a new thing. It's been going on a long time. But this whole movement is extremely dangerous in this one
Very.
particular thing because the Me Too thing is starting out of a bunch of women who are upset that they're whores, and that's on them, right? I mean, I don't care that that dude's a lecher, you're a whore. Both of you guys are guilty if we want to really get into the moral aspect of it or not. Men and women want to hook up. You either do or you don't. What's the problem, right?
Right.
But this right here is nonsense. And her argument that she's putting forward is ridiculous. Any dude here knows exactly what they're hearing because we've all done this. It's pretty standard. We're trying to get the girl to have sex with us, right? It's a very standard thing. And he's asking. If he was a rapist, he wouldn't be asking, would he? He'd be on your ass. But he's trying to talk you into it, is what he's doing here. And obviously you weren't interested in, but obviously you think you wanted to be with him, and he just probably decided to just go because you wouldn't have sex with him, and that he's shallow. He was just looking for sex, and it pissed you off. Or maybe it didn't even happen. How about that? Maybe you actually had a relationship with him and you decided years later that, hey, I can use this to my advantage to make my name bigger because no one knows who Natalie Lawhead is, but yet I bet you some people know who Jeremy Soule is because these are pretty big games he's part of, right? It's just standard crap,
He's a
man.
composer. Like, who even pays attention to
Some
that?
people do. Some people are really, really understand everything about everything that has to do with a project that they like. But I'm saying that it's more than likely that people know who he is because, Knights of the Old Republic and Skyrim, those are big deals, man, right? And I've never heard of her, and she's an indie developer, right?
Right?
So never heard of her, right? Maybe someone else has, but it is just a typical thing. They're not getting enough attention. They're not making enough money. Let's throw a guy under a bus. They don't care. Who cares? Let's just make some money. And this happens all the time. It's constantly happening. Law cases are happening. Lawsuits are happening. Sorry, but it's just this is beyond. It's too much. We need to back this up. Because this needs to be done away with. We can't have this crap. Once again, I'm going to move away and we're going to finish the show, but 95%. That is a serious number. Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, no, dude. There are many examples of that, Michael. They use the old school Me Too movement to get black guys killed in the South. Yeah, that's right. Because a lot of those people down there, and this isn't just a Southern thing. Understand this is all over the world. If you're, and I can't explain quickly why this is true, but it is true. You go anywhere in the world, and you have a father, and he hears his daughter is having sex with some guy. Now, depending on her age and stuff like that, the father's going to have some kind of reaction depending on the father, right? But if you replace the guy she's having sex with a black guy, he's going to be more angry. I don't know why. It just is what it is. You call it racism, fine. Everyone in the world is racist against blacks, whatever. You can take any approach you want, but it's a simple fact of the matter. And down in the South, they take that very seriously, dude. If you were a black dude in the South, or especially in the past when I was young, and you want to get yourself in trouble, mess around with white girls, and you'll get yourself in big trouble, right? Right or wrong, I'm not saying it is right, but it is what it is. Anyway, moving on. Is there anything to end this on a happy note? Let me see. What's this? This. Oh, look, there's going to be a Jane. No, that's not happy. I don't want to talk about that. That's stupid. Okay, let's come back over here. Anyway, so
Oh, I think you missed one new or two news.
did I?
The first news that you missed was that the whole audio leak of Funimation for the English dub, with the whole Vic stuff happening, has spilled over to Japan. It's actually hitting the Japan news sites now. Now Japan's learning about this.
Oh, I heard. I saw that on the news yesterday, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but the Japanese take on it is a little bit different. They're not pointing fingers and screaming. They're saying that it's very odd. Is it appropriate to have these people doing the
mm,
English versions of the characters? What they're saying, but they kind of
right,
just joked it off. It was kind of a slice of life story, actually, not a main
yeah,
news story. What
right.
was the other one?
The other one is Bird of Prey, where they are in massive reshoot,
Mm.
getting rid of that pedo storyline.
Pedo
Um,
storyline, huh?
Mm.
Explain
yeah.
that.
Well, the plot of the story was Black Mask dick pic that got stolen by the
Oh,
girls,
right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
and that dick pic is actually, pedo related. So they're reworking the whole thing, a la Rogue One, where they had to reshoot the whole movie, and that's what they're currently doing. The whole movie is being reshot. We got tidbits of it when we talked about the Deadline article back
Uh-huh.
a few weeks, where they're getting the John Wick director Chad Stedall to reshoot and oversee the action screen shoots, but we didn't know how extensive these reshoots are going to be, so they're actually redoing the whole movie.
Wow. Now here's my question though. Are they changing that because of it's too sexual to have in the story, or because it makes gay people look bad?
Both, I guess, but I'm pretty sure it's the latter one because you're dealing with children.
See, if you have a movie and the
Hmm.
bad guy is a bad guy, that's not a problem, right? I mean,
Right.
it's not a problem, right? He's some kind of pedophile rapist. All right, cool.
Well,
Let's
you
get
also
him.
have to
Let's
remember.
kill him.
You also have to remember that the who's playing the bad guy as well.
Who is playing the bad guy?
Uh, Ewan McGregor,
Ooh, yeah, that is salty.
and what just recently was announced a couple weeks ago was an Obi-Wan TV film for Disney.
That's true. Yeah, they've been talking about that. I don't know. I am not interested in Birds of Prey even a little bit at all. I have no interest at all. But for me, if you got a bad guy who's a really bad guy, and the good guys are going to take him out, that's not a problem, right? But it's the first thing that popped in my head is they didn't like it because the SJWs complaining because it makes gay people look bad, as if you can't have a bad gay person or an evil woman or an evil this or that. I mean, it's kind of outrageous. I would assume that there are a lot of gay people in this world who are pretty good people, and I guarantee you there's some who are really bad, right?
All right.
But no, they're so blinded that they can't. Well, whatever. I'm still not going to watch it. No, no. But anything from you, Todd? Anything? I kind of made a very, very, very sad and dour moment there at the end. I do apologize. Mark Waid and frickin' Zoe Quinn and whoever that lady is. But oh well. Anything to lighten
Well,
the spirits, Todd?
well, yeah. I mean, hopefully you guys are checking out what we're doing at IndieCom TV because we've gotten some new people that are going to be involved.
Mhm.
Um, we got some old people that have not done anything in a while. But we have some new blood coming in. So I think you should take a look at the channel. There'll be some interesting things going on. Hopefully, we can get some more out of Zach. Zach did a great video for the speed paint time lapse
Ooh,
video.
nice.
Really good job. And in the outcome, like the finished product was really, really good. He hit on all the right notes, considering that we looked over his campaign and saw some things. But man, this piece was really good. So yeah, just keep an eye on it. Hopefully, you've been over there and you've subscribed. If you haven't, maybe one of the moderators can put the link in there and get over there and subscribe, because there's going to be something there for you.
Yeah, and do understand that Todd just called me old man. That's what he did. I heard it.
No, you've been very regular. Yeah, it's not you. We might have a problem amidst our group. We got some tilting of windmills out there.
Oh, do we? Well, that's all right. Definitely go check out IndieCom TV. It's a lot of fun. I think the interview that we did with Billy Chuchu was great. Definitely go check that out. We kept that to a pretty tight hour too, best we could.
Yes, very good
So
interview.
yeah, it was a great
Actually,
interview.
got some feedback on the interview, so
Oh,
great
good.
job.
Like what?
Just somebody that I've asked to be on the show. They happen to see the interview, and they might be willing to come on.
Sweet.
I don't
That'd
want
be
to give it
awesome.
away. Yeah.
Well, one thing I would say is, over here on this show, we get a little political every now and then, for sure. And it's, the stories just lead us that way. But on Anycom, at least what I'm doing, Coffee Aki Habata, there's no politics at all. It's just pure fun of nerd hobbies, games, video games, comics, whatever. Uh, so it's a lot of fun. Chester is regular because he is old. Thank you. Chester is a swinger. Not anymore, Zach. I was never actually a swinger. That's married people doing that. I never did that. But I was a player. Is that how, did I say that right? Player? Is it player?
just just stop.
Yeah.
You're just showing your age now.
Right. I know, dude. I know. I know. But anyway,
I can hear
guys,
your
definitely
kid.
check that out. And tomorrow, we have Bugbear's Basement. Of course, we are starting our very new Moonshay Isles campaign in Faerun, our D&D game. That's not going to have any nonsense at all. That's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely come check that out. I got it really worked out well what we're going to do with that, and we'll see where the characters take us, of course. But definitely come check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun. But other than that, Denali, take us out of here, man.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for Comics News today. Join us tomorrow for Bugs Bear Basement at 8 p.m. while they start their D&D campaign, Moonshine Isles, at 8 p.m. sharp. Check out the Indie Com TV channel. They have a lot of guests. They recently had Billy
Billy
Tucci.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We got his year-long public, what he's going to publish
Yeah, we
for
did.
the next year.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
So check that episode out, and the more content that we're going to be bringing to you. Join the newsletter for the Immortal Mask at my email, dinalescomic@gmail.com, for updates and news for that project. And as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Later, guys.
Aloha.